fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini, Barzagli and in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio along the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio along the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio along the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio are on the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio are on the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio are on the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio are on the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio are on the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio along the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio along the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio along the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the Champions League takes place at the Nou Camp tonight as Barcelona face Serie A champions Juventus. As far as the team news is concerned, well, the big news for Barcelona is that recent signing Ousmane Dembele makes his first start in the Champions League for Barca. There's also a starting berth as well for fullback Nelson Semedo. They line up with Ter Stegen in goal, then Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba along the back four. Midfield three of Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele, the three up front. As for Juve, who of course knocked Barcelona out at the quarter-final stage of the Champions League last season, well, they are missing Khedira, Marchisio, Chiellini and Mandzukic. So they line up with Buffon in goal, then Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio along the back four. Matuidi and Pjanic in the holding midfield positions, with Costa, Dybala and Bentancur asked to get up in support of the lone striker Gonzalo Higuain. It's a 7:45 start this evening for Barcelona against Juventus. Well, the big match of the evening in the off-tube studio commentary of the big clash of the night in the Champions League group stages. It is Barcelona against Juventus, a repeat of last year's quarter-final where of course Juve came out on top over the two legs and were then ultimately beaten in the final by Real Madrid. It's going to be an intriguing encounter. Warren Ashurst and John Hogan to talk you through the action. We'll get John Stone in a moment. We're just about to get underway. Damir Skomina of Slovenia, I should say, is the referee for this evening's proceedings. Barcelona with Ter Stegen in goal, a back four of Semedo, Piqué, Umtiti and Alba, Rakitic, Busquets and Iniesta in midfield, with Messi, Suarez and Dembele up front. And it's Barca who's kicking from right to left in this first half to get us underway. For Juventus, Buffon in goal, Sandro, Benatia, Barzagli and De Siglio on the back four, with Matuidi and Pjanic in midfield, Costa, Dybala and Bentancur playing just behind Gonzalo Higuain. And Barcelona, not surprisingly, John, having a lion's share of early possession. How do you see this one going?
Well, I think that, Juve are a great team and all that, but Barca owe them, don't they? Big star, really, from last season. They're too good a team, aren't they? They don't fail that often. And for Juventus as well, I mean, there are so many different faces. I mean, when you look at the team, players like Bentancur, he's going to be a good player. But he's 20. I feel like they've thrown players like that in tonight. So it's a hopeful Juve team. I think what's going to happen is what happens to most teams, in that they get beaten by a few goals. And I suspect that Barcelona score 3 or 4 tonight.
Well, we shall see. Juve often come and try and almost shut up shop and make it difficult for Barca, as they did last year, as Iniesta plays one down the line for Suarez to chase, but he's overhit the ball and he'll drift out of play for a throw into Juventus. Very, very early goal, by the way, in one of the other games on the night. Olympiacos 0, Sporting Lisbon 1 is the latest score in that clash. Here come Juventus, meanwhile, bursting forward with Higuain. Plays it into feet and finds Bentancur. And now it'll be crossfield ball over to that left-hand side, where Sandro will pick up the pieces, overlapping from left back. Back he goes now to Matuidi, and in turn he goes further backwards towards Benatia. Of course, Juventus having to do without their two mainstay defenders of recent seasons. Of course, they sold Bonucci to AC Milan in the summer, and Chiellini is out missing today. Also missing Khedira, Mandzukic and Marchisio. So there are key players out for Juventus, and you feel like they have to be at full strength if they're going to go to the Nou Camp and win this game.
Yeah, and like I said, and a couple have gone, from the end of the year, from last season. So it's a very different team. A back four as well. They've got the Milan full-back De Siglio, Sandro, the Brazilian, the other side. We haven't seen too much. Benati's a good player, but yeah, again, it's all about those relationships that they've got. So instead of La Vecchia Signora being, really tough and defensive, I just think there are too many holes in there. It's about relationships. I'm not sure that Massimiliano Allegri's team have got all that. On paper, yeah, they're terrific players, but I'm not sure that this is really a team.
Well, they have won a throw-in, have Barcelona on the far side in a defensive position. It came off Matuidi last. Big emphasis on Matuidi and Pjanic in the middle of the park tonight. A slip from Matuidi's let Barcelona in, and Dembele's away down the right-hand side. Gets to the byline, inside the penalty area. Dembele tries to fizz it across to Messi. It hits the heels there of Benatia, and it goes behind for a corner. Yeah,
I like Dembele. He's a good player, isn't he? And good young French talent. I think they would have been flirting with playing Deulofeu, who I think is brilliant going forward, but there's nothing going back. In this Barca team, he doesn't need to, does he? So I was a little bit surprised that Dembele gets the start, but he did okay there.
Corner kick swung in towards the near post, punched away on the edge of his 6-yard box by Buffon. He'll only go as far as Iniesta, 30 yards from goal. Over on the right-hand side, Messi tries to play a 1-2 with Dembele. Messi picks it up again, fresh from his hat-trick at the weekend. Finds Busquets, and out to this left-hand side it goes. Suarez has dropped deep to get involved. Iniesta, Busquets back to Iniesta again, looking for some movement. There wasn't a great deal in front of him. We've now found Rakitic down the right-hand side. Further right it goes now to Dembele, who's hugging that touchline in the early stages. That's brilliant skill from Iniesta to move it away from Matuidi and find Rakitic, and he'll spread the play to Jordi Alba on this left-hand side. Back it goes to Busquets, and again Barca just probing and hoping that they can lure Juventus out from the back. Ball forward by Semedo into Dembele. Although they're not really progressing at the moment, they are trying to lure Juventus out. It's a lovely bit of pace from Dembele. Gets away from two, bursts towards the edge of the penalty area, and then he's crowded out by black and white jerseys. And then Pjanic goes down under the challenge of Suarez. Suarez complains about the decision, but it will be a free kick to Juve.
Yeah, it's stunning. I mean, from a standing start, then he turned the afterburners on, and well, leaves Blaise Matuidi amongst others behind him. Maybe he overplayed that, but you don't mind, do you? I mean, he's running into the heart. Pjanic had to run back and put a meaningful challenge in, and the ball winkled away. But that's just stunning stuff. I mean, you know, we know all about Suarez and Messi. If Dembele can continue like that, then they've got another world star. What a shot that was! Wow. And is that Desilio right foot hit with the outstep of his right boot, dragging it back in, and he almost grazed the post. Like I said, used to seeing him in the Milan colours. Hasn't played too often. Left foot drive, by the way, from the right back. And was it tipped by the
fingertips by ter Stegen, wasn't it? And they've not given a corner either. Well,
I didn't notice that first time around, but on the replay it was pretty clear.
It was at full length, wasn't he? Diving to his right-hand side ter Stegen. Surely the official should have picked that up. Juventus didn't make too much of a moan about it, though, to be fair, as Matuidi has it taken off his toes, and Iniesta tries to break. Pjanic pulls him back. It'll be a free kick around about on halfway. The referee, Mr. Scomina, was thinking about dipping into his pocket there for a yellow card, but that was some strike from Desilio. And ter Stegen had to be at his best to tip it round the post. Just 6 minutes gone in this off-tube studio commentary. Barcelona, Juventus 0. It's been a bit more open than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like we said, Juve may not be the finished article with this team. It's a work in progress, and there's a lot of young kids on show, but there's a load of talent, isn't there? So we see that. I think Chelsea have just scored as well, so 2 early goals. I think they will get it done. Valverde, he'd be hoping that there's cohesion in his team. On big nights like this, I think it pretty much sorts itself out. But yeah, they've never been a team who are watertight at the back. Barca, I don't particularly think the keeper's that talented at all. That seems to be the case. They always have a weakness at the back somewhere, don't they? Umtiti in there as well. I think they should be strong enough. The only thing is they get left alone, don't they? And you know, Rakitic and Iniesta won't be bothering about defending. But here come Barcelona forward. Yeah,
Semedo it is, bursting forward from right back. He's still going, he's inside the area. And we're a little bit fortunate there, Juventus. With combination of Sandro and Benatia just about got enough on the ball. And it ricocheted into their path. But in fact, I think the referee's given a free kick here to Barcelona for the original foul, which was from Douglas Costa, wasn't it? Yeah. Trying to backtrack.
Yeah, I mean, he just never got there. I mean, he's just trying to drag him back. Proper attackers challenged that. Really good run by Semedo. And, well, a free kick. They've got Piqué, haven't they? And Busquets to aim at, I guess.
Messi's going to deliver it left-footed. An in-swinger in towards the area. Umtiti's gone towards the back post. Suarez making a nuisance of himself in and around the middle of the penalty area. Messi almost certainly will take this free kick. What is the delivery like? Front man Pjanic just heads it up in the air. Half-hearted claims of a penalty. Referee waves them away, and now Juventus look to hit on the break. Ball through the middle towards Higuain. He's on a burst now towards the edge of the penalty area. Umtiti's back at him. Shot comes in. ter Stegen saves in front of him. In fact, the burst in the end, I think it may well have been from Dybala. It was, who I thought for a moment Higuain had peeled away, but it's a great through ball from Douglas Costa, who played him in. You mentioned earlier on, about 5 minutes ago, John, there are gaps at the Barcelona backline, and they clearly overcommitted for that free kick.
They were. Titi was there. I mean, if you have Mascherano playing, and because he's not the tallest, he probably would have been back and helping to snuff that kind of challenge. He's on the bench tonight. Don't know if that's a mistake. Dybala showed a lot of quality there, got a shot away. If that had been Higuain, they would have caught him, because no way is he that quick. You know, he wouldn't have been able to get the shot away, not in my opinion. So it's up to Dybala to show the quality that he's got. You know, they've sort of labelled this game, you know, the 2 10s against each other, 2 of the best players in the world. I haven't seen much of Dybala, and it looks to me, looking at his stats, you know, he's still a young kid, but last season was probably his big breakthrough. But yeah, it was quite impressive, that.
The unfortunate thing for Dybala as the ball goes over the byline on the left-hand side, so Buffon will have a goal kick, was that he had absolutely no support whatsoever. Just seeing that instant a moment or so ago, Busquets made a bit of a meal of it inside the area as he was nudged.
I thought there was a penalty. I thought Bazzagli got nowhere near the ball, shoved him in the back. I mean, he's going to go down. He goes down in a light breeze. But I think if you shove somebody, don't get the ball, and he didn't, then he's running the risk. And for me, it could easily have been a penalty.
I just think sometimes if you cry wolf too many times, like the case of Busquets, then maybe it comes back to bite you. Here comes Higuain, tries to force it through towards Dybala. Foot in from Piqué, though, smuggles it back to Ter Stegen. And we've had 10 minutes, and it remains Barca 0, Juventus 0. Still goalless in the Nou Camp. It's been an intriguing first period to this game, though. Both sides going for it. Certainly Juventus look dangerous on the break, and they've had the two real good opportunities so far. De Siglio cutting in from the right-hand side. A left-footed strike from 25 yards was tipped round the post brilliantly by Ter Stegen, but the officials didn't see it and actually awarded Barcelona a goal kick. And then about 5 minutes later, a quick break saw the ball played forward by Costa, through ball towards Dybala on the left-hand side. He was held up by Umtiti, decided to hit it from the angle and hit it straight at Ter Stegen. Barcelona have dominated possession really and have had most of the territory as well. But as I say, it's Juventus on the break who have come closest to breaking the deadlock. Still Barcelona 0, Juventus 0.
Yeah, Barcelona come forward, but it's a pretty poor ball, and Benatia can head that one back to Gigi Buffon, who with his lovely head of hair, courtesy of fantastic shampoo, he's able to bowl that ball out. But another break down the left-hand side, opportunity for Douglas Costa. What can he do? The loanee puts a clever little ball on the inside. He can't find Alexandro, but well, Juve still have it. Edge of the area, shot comes in. Another save from Ter Stegen. Well, down in instalments. He made a right mess of that, and he almost bundled it into the path of Dybala. Pjanic's shot, it was decent. One thing that we're seeing from Juve is that they've got cutting edge. You know, yes, Barcelona have dominated play and probably been in the Juve half more, but Juve have done more with it when they've had it, and they've already created a number of chances, so they're not going to die wondering tonight. They're going to give it a red hot crack, and I think, like me, they probably think, well, Ter Stegen's not a great goalkeeper, let's take him on.
Yeah, and it wasn't great keeping then at all. Fumbled it really going down to his right hand side when it was should have really have been gathered first time of asking. As Messi midway inside the Juve half is crowded out, but he wins it back, and he's got an overlapping run on the right hand side. Tries to flick it through towards Dembele, who claims he was fouled. Referee says play on, and Juve pick up the pieces with Dybala inside the centre circle. Back he goes towards Pjanic. Costa's made a run over the top. He ignores it though, plays it short to Matuidi, and Juve will just try and slow things down. I'm a big fan of Douglas Costa. Really impressed with him in the times that I saw him at Bayern Munich, and just couldn't break into that team with Ribéry and Robben ahead of him, and you can understand that, to be honest. And so I think a pretty shrewd move from Carlo Ancelotti to let him go out on loan, probably with the intention of having him back at Bayern Munich. This is a big season for Douglas Costa.
Yeah, it's right. Sporting have grabbed a second, by the way. Yeah, absolutely right. Same way that Renato Sanchez has gone to Swansea. Let go, learn your trade. Yeah. He was laughably bad at the weekend in a way, but he's got to get those wrinkles out of his system. He could end up being a brilliant player. The same for Douglas Costa. We talked about Juventus before we came in tonight, and I'm saying, look, this is a team who've got 60 players out on loan. It is hard to break into an 11 like this, but Costa has done it. He's definitely got something about him. We'll
go through the substitutes when we get a break in play, but it's pretty much breathless at the moment as Barca have it with Umtiti down the left-hand side to Jordi Alba, in towards Suarez. An unusually bad touch from him, but it's still found Iniesta, and Barca just keep possession. So looking at the benches, Barcelona with Jasper Cillessen, the sub-goalkeeper, Denis Suarez, Javier Mascherano, Paulinho, Deulofeu, Sergio Roberto and Andre Gomez are the options for Barca. And for Massimiliano Allegri, the Juve coach, he's got Wojciech Szczesny as his sub-keeper, then Asamoah, Regani, Sturaro, Bernardeschi, Merio and Caligara as his substitute options. Here's Iniesta midway inside the Juve half when he goes towards Messi, plays it forward to Suarez, back to goal. Claims he was being fouled by Barzagli. Referee says play on, and Iniesta has it now. 25 yards from goal, onto his favoured right foot. He's got men over to the right hand side, tried to smuggle it through towards Rakitic. Well read though by Benatia, who clears it. Juve dropping very deep though at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit worrying that when they do what every other team does and just fold back in front of their own goal, then you stood stock still, aren't you? What we saw there from Iniesta was the usual magic. He looks like he's just going to slow play out to the left. Then, within a nanosecond, he's dragged it onto his right, he's burst forward, and he nearly found Rakitic in the box there with what was a drilled pass. But if it reaches him, he's able to turn and get a shot away inside the box. Juve's efforts are pretty much you know, outside the area, but Barcelona could run it into the back of the net. Luis Suarez has had a weird start to the game. He's not quite at it just yet.
No, I just wonder whether, you know, having previous experiences against Italy, international level, and Juventus, whether Suarez has just got, he seems to have one eye on the defenders rather than actually just fully concentrating on the task in hand, as Umtiti goes through the back of his man there and gives away a free kick. A lot asked of Luis Suarez through the middle now that Neymar, of course, has moved on. They used to maybe swap and change a little bit, but it seems like Suarez is right through the middle as Pjanic tries to switch the play to this near side, gets it horribly wrong. Jordi Alba trying to deal with it, makes it a little bit more uncomfortable than it should have been for ter Stegen, and he eventually clears right-footed. Headed away by Benatia.
Well, that's, for me, that's ter Stegen's fault. I don't know what the Italian or the Spanish word for turn is, but
yeah,
he needs to find it. Because he had a load of time, Jordi Alba, but then he was left wondering, and by the time he thought about it, oh, he's a good ball over the top, and out comes Buffon. I tell you what, if there's a Mane-style foot there to winkle that ball away from Buffon, it didn't come out, because he's able to chest it, control it, but I just thought there was a lack of desire to go for that ball, really.
Here come Barca again with Suarez, almost smuggles it through to the run of Jordi Alba, but it was well read by Barzagli, and Juve have it back midway inside their own half with Pjanic. Spreads the play over to the left-hand side. Sandro, the fullback, gives it back to Pjanic, and now chance for Matuidi just to calm things down a little bit more. It was a hairy moment for Juventus, that ball through the middle. Not often they get caught out, the two centre-backs. On that occasion they did, as Umtiti knocks it forward. Again, Juve pick up the pieces. Douglas Costa with a nice little ball round the corner towards Sandro. He's got a man out to his left, and he finds Bentancur, who's making his debut for Juve this evening. Ball is a poor one though, and Barca win it back, and Rakitic holds the ball. Barca and Juventus both top of their domestic leagues at the moment, after winning all of their games so far in La Liga and Serie A respectively. But the Champions League is often a whole different kettle of fish. And of course, when these two teams met last season, Barca had pulled off that amazing comeback against PSG, and everybody thought their name was on the trophy, and Juventus disposed of them pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I seem to remember one of our colleagues having a bet, a very good time at Barcelona, and thinking he'd almost scooped the prize when they made that big comeback. But of course, you know, at the highest level, you know, expect lots of surprises. When Bayern Munich undid Barcelona a few years back, we all thought that Barcelona were virtually invincible, but all that happened there, they got beaten up by a team of bigger lads heading the ball the back of the net. But here come Barcelona, they're still playing the same old style, round the back they go, and there's half a chance there for Semedo. But I mean, they're still good to watch though, aren't they? And you know, they'll be amongst the favourites. If they won it this time round, it wouldn't be a great big surprise, would it?
They're always going to be there or thereabouts, as Messi tries to lay it off to Rakitic. It was overhit though, and Juve with Higuain step in, but again his touch lets him down, and Umtiti's in very quickly to win it back for Barca. Now with Messi, who've played coming up to 18 minutes, and this off-tube studio commentary still goalless. Here's Iniesta, brilliant feet from Iniesta towards the edge of the penalty area. Surely he's bundled over. It's a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area inside the D. Do you know what? He's been the best player on the pitch for me so far, Andreas Iniesta, and that was sublime footwork.
Well, I tell you what, he just the balance with that. I mean, he drags the ball from one foot. It's like tempting. You think I'm left-footed because I'm so good on my left, but I'm going to drag it in onto my right. I'm going to just tip it with my right in front of you. Then pull it away again. I can use either foot, drag it onto my left, drag it onto the right. You just don't know. And in the end, he's upended. I think he's going to probably get his shot away there. But great chance for Messi now. It's in the D. You would assume that he's going to hit this.
I don't like to see referees brandish cards, but I thought that was a yellow card there. Matuidi went into the back of him. As you say, he was about to pull the trigger, Iniesta, and he knew full well he had to try and stop him.
They pulled the ball out of the D to get a bit better
further
angle.
away. I was going to say they moved it about 5 yards backwards here, Barcelona, in order to try and maybe give them more room to get it up and over that wall. I'll be absolutely amazed if it's not Lionel Messi who takes this free kick, but there are a couple of others around it at the moment. Busquets is just having a quick word with the referee and maybe saying, am I allowed to go in this wall here, and maybe cause a diversion. Buffon trying to line up his wall as things stand. Just over 19 minutes gone. This is the perfect opportunity, you feel, for Barca to break the deadlock here. Buffon, who's never been beaten by Lionel Messi, can he put those wrongs to right here? The little Argentine. This is to the left-hand side of the ball as we look. Messi to the right. There's a Juve player about 2 yards from the ball, Higuain I think it was, to make sure they couldn't take the free kick quickly. And the referee Mr. Scamina is just making sure that the wall stays the 10 yards back. Messi or Suarez? I can't believe it'll be anything other than Messi. Left footed, tries to hit it low. Suarez with a rebound. Brilliantly tipped over the bar by Buffon. And after making a mess of the first free kick, Barca almost broke the deadlock.
Yeah, he drilled it into the bottom of the wall. I don't know if the wall jumped enough or he just didn't execute it. But when it came back to Suarez, I think Messi just stood in his way for a second there. Maybe that put him off slightly from getting a better angle, but he put enough whip on it that all Buffon could do was just flick it over the top of the crossbar. Corner kick.
Corner will be taken by Rakitic on this near side, right-footed, swings it deep towards the back post. Looked like Piqué was going to have a free header. It drifted over him though. It's cleared by Sandro. It'll be picked up by Dembele on the far side. The new signing from Borussia Dortmund plays it short and then gets it back off his teammate and then goes further backwards into their own half, where the ball's picked up by Busquets. Barca will start again down the right hand side. Only just kept in play there by Messi as it almost eluded him. Laid off again to the little Argentinian, and he fires the ball over to this near side of Iniesta. Jordi Alba's got acres of room on the far side if he wants to try and pick him out, and he does. And then back to Iniesta again, who just drifts past his man for about the 5th time in this game. Plays it short to Suarez, plays a lovely crossfield ball over to the right hand side, and a chance here for Semedo to stride forward. Instead he plays it short to Rakitic, midway inside the Juve half. Dembele, down the line he goes again to the run of Semedo. Celtic 0, PSG 1 as they to score at Parkhead. Ball over to this near side again from Barcelona to Jordi Alba. Back in field to Iniesta. Alba goes on the overlap, but it was well read by De Siglio, and he'll do really well to allow that ball to cross the byline and a Juventus goal kick. Yeah,
it was just overplayed, that, wasn't it? And De Siglio did a decent job there. Again, the more I look at Buffon's save there, he'd like overcompensate, jumped underneath the ball, and just at the last moment was able to just flick it. Buffon could just carry on forever, couldn't he? I mean, he for the last 20 years he's been so consistent, and if he's not been the best, he's been in the top 2 or 3, you know.
And he doesn't look to have dipped in performance at all for me over the last 10 years, to be honest. It's Neymar, surprise surprise, who scored for PSG at Celtic, and I can tell it was Pedro who scored for Chelsea in the 1-0 lead they have over Karabag at Stamford Bridge. Big blow for Manchester United. Paul Pogba's had to be substituted in the first half of their game at home to Basel. Ball is with Barcelona midway inside their own half. Rakitic goes all the way back to Ter Stegen, and Ter Stegen under some pressure from Higuain plays it out to this left hand side and finds Umtiti. Down the line it goes towards Jordi Alba. Umtiti again hoists one over the top towards Rakitic. It's too high though, and it'll be picked up here by Barzagli, and Juve will be able to mop things up inside their own half. Still Barcelona 0, Juventus 0 in this intriguing encounter at the Nou Camp. We've seen the closest effort yet though on goal on 20 minutes when Barcelona won a free kick right on the edge of the D of the Juventus penalty area after some brilliant footwork from Andres Iniesta, who drifted past 3 Juventus players before being brought down by Matuidi. No surprise that Lionel Messi took the free kick. He got it horribly wrong though, tried to fire it low. It hit the wall, came straight back out to Luis Suarez, and the Uruguayan shot blasted towards goal was tipped over brilliantly by the ageless Gianluigi Buffon, and then Juventus were able to clear their lines from the resulting corner. As I say, it really is a fascinating game so far, but no goals. Barcelona 0, Juventus 0.
Douglas Costa now beats 1-2, then flicks a great ball forward. Real opportunity, his shot comes in, and Bentancur's effort was blocked away. Well, on debut, he might just have scored there. It all opened up. There's some beautiful play on that left-hand side for Juve, and Costa beat 2, scooped his lovely ball up in the air. Bentancur eyes full of goal there, but he couldn't quite beat Ter Stegen. So it's a corner kick for Juve, who through Dybala will hope to launch a left-footed in-swinger. We've got plenty enough targets to hit. Mehdi Benatia, Barzagli in there. In comes the delivery to the near post. The ball clipped back in, overhit. Pretty poor stuff really from Dybala. We're expecting a bit more from him.
Yeah, that was very poor indeed from the Juve number 10. Just looking at the possible substitute options. There's plenty of attacking threat for both sides on their benches. possibly more so as far as Barcelona are concerned. Maybe Gerard Deulofeu will be the ultimate pick if there was to be a change from Barca, but with just coming up to 24.5 minutes on the clock, no thoughts of any changes, you would say, so far for either coach. I'll hand you over to John in a moment, but just see this move out as Messi burst forward through the middle. He beat 2 tackles, but then on the spot was Benatia to smash it clear right-footed and out of play for a Barca throw-in on the far side. As I say, coming up to 25 minutes, still Barca 0, Juve 0. First yellow card of the game, John, as I hand over to you to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, there was a foul. I think it might have been Rakitic who was caught, and so yeah, he puts Bentancur, I think, in the book, and the young man goes from somebody nearly scored to somebody definitely late on Rakitic, who just nicked that ball away. Yellow card, quite right there. He was dead late, wasn't he?
That's what you call a rash challenge, I think. If you looked in the dictionary under rash challenge, that would be it. He threw himself into it, Rodrigo Bentancur, and no, should be no complaints about that. It said there a moment or so ago, it's a fascinating game because it's just 2 contrasting styles, but both equally as dangerous, you have to say, as Suarez tries to get away from his man. Yeah,
but Dicilio's got pace to burn there, and he's able to burn him off and deal with it. You know, yeah, like I said, standing dish at Milan for the last couple of seasons. Dicilio, a few Italian caps as well. He knows the art of defending it well enough. Attributes being paid. He's not the tallest, but the fullback you don't really need to be. But I think that might have worked out for Suarez had he been up against one of the big centre backs and able to turn. He's not super quick, is he, Luis Suarez? But Dicilio read that. Anyway, Barca have the ball. I fancy them to win at a canter tonight, but it doesn't look like it's going to unfold for them like that. However, they can turn it on, and if they've been quite up to press, then in a 10 or 15 minute spell they can always grab a couple, can't they? Iniesta's been magic tonight, and he's on the ball right now, just held up, and Bentancur keeps him honest. The ball's got to go back, and TT finds an average ball forward, and then the ball back's a shocker, and just seems a little lack of cohesion. The ball goes all the way back, and in the end, Ter Stegen plays it out with his feet for Jordi Alba. Ball goes left, back inside to Alba. Very slow play from Barcelona deep in their own territory. As Busquets had come to play it, and Rakitic. Well, maybe there was a foul there, but it didn't look like much of one as Messi came really deep. When Messi comes deep and over the halfway line, you know that things are not working out for his team.
Yeah, exactly. He's coming looking for the ball really at the moment, and Barca just getting themselves in a bit of a sticky patch here midway through the first half. Now they're giving the ball away again.
Ball clipped forward, instant control, and there's a man on the burst here. Higuain at the edge of the area, into the box he goes, gets a left foot shot away. I think the sting was taken out of that by the defender, and then it ends up being almost a back pass to Ter Stegen. Yeah, I mean, he can shoot with both feet, but it didn't quite work out for him.
No, I mean, we are quite critical, and I think understandably, of Barca's backline sometimes, but they must be looking tonight and thinking, come on, you're not helping us out at all here. Balls up to the front men and not sticking. The balls back into their own half are being given away, and they're allowing and inviting Juventus onto them, as just seeing that Chelsea have doubled their advantage against Karabag, and I'm hearing that Bayern Munich have taken the lead against Anderlecht as well.
So Barcelona got to pull their socks up. You know, I think you know, the link up between Mascherano and Busquets for them to go forward. The other thing I've got to say is that you know, Juventus are compressing the play by. Yes, they defend deep when Barca got the ball inside their half, but when they don't, you know, they hold such a high line. Here they come trying to fire that ball forward. It's a poor ball, and Dybala can do nothing with that. It flicked off his heel really, but well, possession 66% for Barca, but they've had 2 attempts to the 5 of Juventus, so it ain't just all about possession as well. We know. Still haven't quite got over Leicester City, but anyway. Here come Barcelona. Semedo. There's a foul, and surely maybe another yellow card there as Messi chopped down, and he's at Douglas Costa. Could well be a second booking. He might just have a word with him, referee Demir Scamina. But I looked fairly cynical to me, quite frankly.
Benatia is trying to get a point across that maybe he's a little bit unfortunate and trying to calm the referee down a little bit, but Just watching it again, I think he did go for the ball, but when he realised he wasn't going to get to the ball, Johnny, he hooked his leg up to make sure that Messi wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it is one of those. First thing first, I'll try and get the ball. Second, if I don't, I'm going to trip him up.
Yeah.
That's like holding somebody back. That for me should be a yellow card all day and every day.
Did he show a yellow, by the way?
No, he didn't.
In the end, I thought he was intending to. Stormed over there as if to give him a yellow and then didn't bother.
Well, maybe Bernati must have talked him out of it then. But anyway, here is Iniesta. The ball to him was rubbish, but he does his best and he flicks it off Pjanic, and so Barcelona can go again. They oftentimes it takes them a while to get flowing properly in a game. A lot of times the opposition, you see their best efforts in the first half hour because they've still got a bit left in the tank. Barcelona dominate possession. I wouldn't have said that they're working Juve that hard though, and if it's about expending energy, I don't think that Juve, if they continue like this, are necessarily going to tank.
No, I don't think they've been chasing that hard, to be honest with you. Barca have kept possession as they always do, without really having that cutting edge so far.
Ball forward to Jordi Alba, didn't quite get there. That one is cut out. Then flick forward by De Silio. Ball picked up by Umtiti, and now on the left hand side is Lionel Messi, trying to get involved, trying to influence it. The man on the ball, Andres Iniesta, is the more than most. He finds Dembele, and he holds off the first challenge. Wriggles into the box again. Again, he's just slightly overdone that. And then the ball goes backwards. Heavy touch there by Barzagli, trying to play their way out from the back, which they've done successfully. But this time they're running into trouble. And Iniesta very nearly picking up the scraps there. That's what they do. Hem teams in. They haven't really been able to do that because Juve have looked after the ball quite well. But early signs that now that Barcelona are just beginning to turn the screw a bit.
Yeah, they're almost getting more numbers forward. That's a great ball from Busquets. Acres of room on the right hand side.
Here they go with Suarez looking for the give and go, and that's a poor ball. And he's had a pretty average game so far at Luis Suarez. Ball rolled forward to Higuain. Can he hold it up? Well, the answer to that is no. But although Rakitic flicks it, he can't win it, and the ball's back with Juve. De Silio again into Pjanic. He looks around. What's around him? Not much, and there's one or two static players there just taking a bit of a breather. Sandro to Costa, who's over the halfway line, but again everybody just looks a little bit flat at the minute.
Got a problem down here, an injury for Juve. I think it may well be Bentancur who was hobbling around, or was it De Silio? In fact, it is De Silio, a bit further forward than I expected. He was limping there, while Juve have men over on the left hand side, and the crossfield ball was seeking out Douglas Costa, but he's just overhit and he couldn't keep it in play. He would have been through on goal inside the area. Yeah,
I think that any team that can hold it together and keep their shape against Barcelona, a good team, can profit. Back in the day, Unai Emery used to set his teams up quite well, I used to think. Fullbacks bomb on for Barcelona, don't they? Semedo and Alba, and they often leave pockets of space. Players like Costa, not so much Bentancur, the other side can thrive. You bang right about De Silio, he's down on the ground, and so we've got a little bit of time to think about it. Is that Steraro warming up?
That'll be a big blow to him, I think, losing De Silio if he goes off. It doesn't look good. He can barely walk on his right leg at the moment. He's hobbling off to the touchline, and I think the change might have to be made. Now, what happened here? Brought the ball down on his chest near the touchline. I actually think he was already injured before that, John. I'm sure that was when the ball came through to him, when he was just after he was hobbling. So I'm not sure that was the incident where he picked up the injury, but at the moment Juve could just do with a little bit of the ball to take some pressure off the back line, because Barca are now pushing more men forward.
That seems a little bit iffy, doesn't it? De Silio went off, had a bit of treatment. Barcelona build down the left hand side, and all of a sudden he runs back into play to stop the ball. I don't think they all got it right there, did they? But anyway, another goal for PSG, Kylian Mbappe, and no surprise, the bookmakers had that as a foregone conclusion before a ball was even kicked. The haves against the have-nots, something like it. Anyway, both these teams have, as the ball's fired through, it won't reach the intended target. Ball back to Iniesta though, as again Barca pick up the scraps. That's a brilliant ball forward, and then poor control from Lionel Messi. Ball might break here for Suarez. He tries to find Lionel Messi in a tight area, I thought he had time. He doesn't look like he's got the confidence to go himself right at the minute.
Playing a lot of time with his back to goal though, Suarez. He prefers running at players and getting into the channels and doing the hard slog that maybe not a lot of forward players like. His back to goal is not necessarily a suited style of play for Suarez. I just think Barca were guilty of overplaying there inside the area. Somebody swing a boot at it, could get a deflection or anything. As it is though, they're building up a head of steam here now. Yeah,
and another strong challenge, middle of the park, but referee's not buying that. He says what Matuidi did was golden. As Costa again beats the first man, he's dragged back. Surely that's got to be a yellow card. Surely. And I think he just has to be. Referee, I think, has shown that card. And here we go, just to get confirmation of that.
Well, I thought it was Umtiti. He's appealing. No, it's not actually. It's
was it Dembele chasing back?
It was Dembele.
No,
Semedo, in fact. Yeah,
Semedo, but it was clear. It was a clear foul. And you know, Douglas Costa's having a while of a game again. Whenever he's involved, his pace is just blinding, and he runs past the first man at will.
Well, Semedo, and it looked like Umtiti was going to block him off anyway, but Semedo got to him first and hauled him back. And it was definitely a free kick and a yellow card. And Juve, with what I would say is a height advantage in their side, can now float this ball in towards the area. Man United, by the way, have just scored at home to Basel. They lead 1-0, despite losing Paul Pogba through a hamstring injury.
Yeah, Fellaini's replacement scored. Yeah. There we go. Anyway, ball drifted out to the left-hand side. So the danger man Costa on it again. This time, Semedo gets the better of him. He's able to play it off him, but the ball actually judged to be a Juve throw. And so, they through Sandro able to gain control. Dybala puts the ball out to Sandro. Poor cross in, and that was nodded away by Umtiti. And now the counter-attack is on with Rakitic. He looks up, but he's caught in the middle of the park. The referee says that's fair, and so Juve have it back deep in enemy territory. That's a poor ball. Now Iniesta breaks away.
Well, Iniesta again there, first on the ball as he broke up play, allowing Barca to come forward. It was a comedy of errors from both sides, really, giving the ball away in the middle of the park. But Barca now in the final third.
Yeah, with Rakitic now, and he fires one out left-hand side. Any impetus is gone. They've sort of slow played it into a place where Juve are comfortable with their bodies back behind the ball. Barca have seen more of the ball. In Iniesta, they've had probably the best player. I think Juve have had a better first half so far, but here they come again. Jordi Alba, edge of the area. What's he got? Well, he flicks the ball back inside to Iniesta, gets it out of his feet. Clever ball. Then Messi is robbed. Pjanic did really well there. It's a lovely little flick ball out, but it didn't really allow Bentancur much chance to do anything else but just scoop it away. Again, Barcelona trying to thread it through. Here's an opportunity. Oh, and in the end, Dembele drags his shot, left-footed, wide of the mark. I thought it would have been easier to score. I don't know if that ball was just tickled away from him at the death. They're claiming a corner kick, and it looks like they're around. So somebody must have just took that away from him as he about to pull the trigger.
It's a brilliant last-ditch tackle if they did, because he was about to score surely. The challenge comes in from number 12, Sandro, threw himself at it, and it's come off his boot last and gone behind. It's an awful ball across his own area by De Siglio. I don't know whether he's still being hampered by that injury, but he's played it right across the edge of his 6-yard box.
So the corner kick comes in, the header away, had like a 50p piece there from I think Bazzali, who couldn't get enough purchase not to put it out for another corner. Decent ball in that time from Lionel Messi. What's he got this time? Left foot from the left, it'll be the out swinger then. At the near post, two-play stab at that, but well, it's Juve come away with the ball. De Siglio long ball out, and well, a little flick over the top, but Jordi Alba is back. He's the pace man to make sure nobody can just scoop around them there. I think Costa was trying to just bomb on again. He's a danger man tonight, and he might be the quickest player on the field.
Well, it's a very close run thing between him and Dembele, probably, isn't it? Both of them have got unbelievable pace. But Costa, for me, is getting in better positions than Dembele at the moment. He's getting in behind the full-backs of Barcelona, and he's always available for that ball diagonally hit over the top. Again, it's still, like I hate to say it's like a chess game because it makes it sound a bit dull, but it is a little bit like that. The two clash of styles is making this a highly entertaining game. if we haven't had any goals yet, it's not for the lack of effort. Plenty of goals at Celtic Park. It's now Celtic 0, PSG 3.
Yeah, it was always going to be like that. Hope that young kid's having a decent game. Jordi Alba fires the ball into the box, not the best. That one's headed back away, but the Blaugrana now beginning to really dominate, maybe to a little bit. Maybe 5 minutes before the break, Barman Juve have done well, but they haven't scored a goal, and maybe they've missed an opportunity in this first half with Barcelona not quite at the races. They don't have a great bench either, in my opinion. Deulofeu would be one of few that you'd want to bring on that could add something to this 11. Anyway, it's still 0-0.
Coming towards the closing stages of the first half at the Nou Camp, still Barcelona 0, Juventus 0, but Barca starting to crank up the pressure towards half-time. They are the team on top as far as territory and possession are concerned, and they had a great chance on 38 minutes when they very nearly took the lead. It came about after a scramble on the edge of the penalty area, and the Juve fullback De Siglio played a shocking ball right across the edge of his own penalty area. He had been injured just before then, and I wonder whether the injury had an impact on that. He played it straight into the path of Dembele, and the new signing from Borussia Dortmund was bearing down on goal. Looked like he was going to bury it right-footed, but his shot was deflected wide by a brilliant challenge on the stretch by the fullback Sandro. He cannot continue, De Siglio. He's going to be replaced, and he'll be mightily relieved that he didn't give a goal away before he went off. It remains then Barcelona 0, Juve 0.
Well, we did see Stefano Sturaro warming up, shirt off, full of muscles and tattoos. But yeah, I thought De Siglio played well until he picked up that injury, and we couldn't quite work out. But the ball had long gone really when Andres Iniesta sort of jumped into him. For me, it looked like he jarred his left knee and his knee ligaments then. So let's hope there's nothing too bad, because actually he's a good player. He was playing well. But Sturaro gets his chance here. He is on the ball. First touch from him. First 2-3 touches, takes him over the halfway line. He flicks the ball back on his inside for Pjanic. He looks up. Ball goes backwards between the two centre halves. Benatia sweeps it out to the left. Why not? That's where their good players come from. As Sandro now is happy to take on Dembele. Breaks the byline, tries to work his way around, but in the end, well, goal kick given. I think the ball came off the toe end of Sandro, but I tell you what, I mean, Dembele's dead lucky there he didn't give away a free kick.
He is back helping out his back line, but he was once, twice, 3 times barging into his man.
That's 3 fouls,
isn't it? 3 fouls, yeah. Not one of them. You'd have thought third time lucky for Juve. As it is, the referee, Mr. Scamina, decided nothing doing, and Barca breathed a huge sigh of relief, but I think certainly if it's goalless at half-time, Juve will certainly be the happier of the two teams, and they'll feel like they're still capable of nicking a goal on the break, even though Barca for long periods have dominated possession. We saw some stats about 5 minutes ago, which probably not massively surprising and often happens even at this level. Barca had completed twice as many passes as Juve had done to that point.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but there's not been a great deal of cutting edge, and if anything, Juve have had more. They've got more shots away. So they'll be pleased with that. I think Higuain has not necessarily had a great game. That's a pretty good ball from him. It's a real opportunity. That's some good defending at the death, though. And had to be from Semedo, looking for a through ball. Here they go again, another opportunity. Higuain can't quite squeeze his way through, and then a shot comes in. That's gone wide. And, well, Blaise Matuidi's effort there must have taken the deflection. They'll line up for a corner kick. They've certainly offered enough threat, haven't they?
They have.
Higuain, I've been disappointed with him, but amongst the rest of those guys, they're doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I think Higuain's done a lot of hard work off the ball, maybe to create room for the likes of Dybala and Costa. But as you say, when it's reached him inside the penalty area, he's not been able to take advantage. But if you've backed Juve, there's more than enough in this game to suggest that you might well get a win out of this.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, they would be the pick now in terms of prices and all that. The value bet would be Juve. Barca still would be short price favourites, I would have assumed. Anyway, it's goalless. Barcelona have not played necessarily well. What's not working for them? Seems to be no great link between, well, certainly the goalkeeper's not great, but he's not a great link with the centre-backs. The centre-backs don't really have great support from the midfielders in front of them. There's a real lack of cohesion. I don't know why the players stopped, but it has for the moment. As the referee's having a word with Iniesta as the skipper of Barca. Luis Suarez is having a quiet game. Messi's having to drop too deep. I think the shape that Juventus is keeping is really good. When Barcelona play out, immediately Juve come to greet them inside their own half. When Juve have to drop deep, they do.
Yeah.
But they play both ways. They're not allowing easy play for Barca out from the back. They don't want to camp in front of their own box. They will if need be, but that's not necessarily where they want to be. I think they've done pretty well, but they've got to do it again, because here come Barcelona. Now counter-attack, Jordi Alba bombing on, left-hand side. Lovely play by Suarez. Finds it. Oh, what a goal! The back of the net for Messi. Give and go with Suarez. Juve played well, but just for a second, on the break, they were not playing well enough. I can't really fault Juve. It's just a good team goal from Barcelona. But there you go. Eventually it's clicked. Suarez clicks with Messi and the ball rolls into the back of the net.
I think the only disappointment for Juve was that it came through the heart of the defence, but Messi picked it up, stepped on the afterburners, burst forward, played it into Suarez. We said that Suarez had been pretty poor back to goal in this first half, but he just laid it back into the path beautifully with the outside of his boot of Messi into the edge of the area, and he cannot be any more accurate than that. It's right inside the far post. He's broken his duck against Gianluigi Buffon, and Barcelona lead just before half-time. The breakthrough has been made just before half-time at the Nou Camp, and Barcelona lead Juventus by 1-0, and Lionel Messi has scored for the first time against Gianluigi Buffon. He picked up the ball midway inside the Juventus half. He ran at the heart of the Juve defence, played it into Suarez, back to goal, the Uruguayan with a lovely flick back into Messi, and from right on the edge of the penalty area, Messi found a low shot into the far corner of the net. No chance for Buffon, perfectly placed by the world superstar. And Barcelona, they may have huffed and puffed for periods in this first half, but they have the lead. It's Barca 1, Juve 0.
And that's the half, because the referee has blown his whistle there. I mean, I feel really sorry for Juventus, because I thought they deserved 0-0 at the break, really, or maybe even to have nicked it. They'd create the more cohesive chance, had a few shots in on goal, but in the end it's Barcelona. And if you've got world-class players, it only takes a second for them to turn it on. Lovely little assist by Suarez. This time his touch was just about perfect to put it into the path of Messi. He put it through the legs of Benatia, so there's nothing that Buffon could do. He saw it very late. So half-time, it's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0.
Half-time at the Nou Camp, and Barcelona hold the lead after a very late goal at the end of the first half. Right on 45 minutes, Lionel Messi bursting forward, playing a give and go with Luis Suarez, and the Argentinian right on the edge of the box, then firing low into the far corner with precision, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Prior to that, it had been pretty even as far as chances go. We've seen De Siglio have a left-footed shot tipped round the post, and we've also seen Pjanic force an uncomfortable save from Ter Stegen, while De Siglio... Half-time at the Nou Camp, Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming right before half-time, courtesy of Lionel Messi. A give and go with Luis Suarez, and the Argentinian from the edge of the area firing low right into the far corner. Precision personified, no chance for Buffon. It had been pretty even on chances before then. De Siglio saw a strike early doors, tipped round the post by Ter Stegen. We've also seen Suarez denied by Buffon, tipping over the bar. But Messi, once again the man for Barcelona. The home side lead 1-0 at the break. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. A goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez, and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen, but at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen, but at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen, but at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen, but at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen, but at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen, but at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen, but at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Tube Studio commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Tube Studio commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Tube Studio commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Tube Studio commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Tube Studio commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Tube Studio commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Tube Studio commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle from Sandro. But it is Messi who's broken the deadlock. It's Barca 1, Juve 0 at the break. Join us very shortly for second half of Cheap Studio Commentary. Well, half-time at the Nou Camp in what's been an intriguing encounter in this Champions League group game. It's Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. The goal coming in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Lionel Messi, who else has broken the deadlock? A give and go with Luis Suarez and the Argentinian firing low to perfection into the far corner, giving Buffon no chance whatsoever. Juve, in fairness, had given as good as they got as far as chances were concerned. Early doors, De Siglio seeing his left-footed strike tip round the post. We've also seen Pjanic force a save out of ter Stegen. But at the other end, well, Suarez saw a shot tipped over the bar brilliantly by Buffon, and Dembele was denied by a last-ditch tackle. Well, a warm welcome back. They are underway for the start of the second half of this Champions League group opener between Barcelona and Juventus. And we'll try and confirm for you any substitutions that might have been made at the break. It looks like it's as you were, with Barca, of course, a goal up courtesy of that strike in stoppage time at the end of the first half from Lionel Messi, as Piqué switches the ball from right to left, and Jordi Alba, under pressure, does well to turn away from his man, plays a 1-2 with Iniesta and then was blocked off, but the referee says nothing doing. He's been very lenient as the referee in this game so far. Damir Skomina from Slovenia, and Juve have it back on the edge of their own penalty area. Listening to Off-Cheap Studio commentary of Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. Warren Ashurst and John Hogan taking you through the action this evening. Of course, we'll keep you updated with what's going on elsewhere in the Champions League in terms of goals. It is Benfica 0, CSKA Moscow 0, Man United 1, Basel 0, Celtic 0, PSG 3, Bayern Munich 1, Anderlecht 0, Chelsea 2, Karabag 0, Roma 0, Atletico Madrid 0, which is not a massive surprise, and Olympiacos 0, Sporting Lisbon 3, as ball is headed away by Semedo, the Barcelona right back. I was just looking at prices at potential comeback from Juventus in the second half. You wouldn't rule it out, would you, John, on what we saw in the first half?
No, I don't think so, but you know, it tends to be the case that teams do play well initially against Barcelona, then can get blown away. You know, you can get hoisted by your own petard. You know, I felt that they were almost a victim of their own success. We talked about them keeping shape, getting forward, but in the end, they didn't have enough bodies back to defend a counter-attack, did they? You know, just one good, clever ball and done. So, yeah, I mean, it's difficult. And Barcelona have done all this goal to nil without even actually playing that well. So, you know, they can still do that thing, have 10-15 minutes where they completely outplay the opposition and score a couple of goals, and so it ain't going to be easy for Juventus. But yeah, they played that well. You think there's a way back. I was talking to Eric, our Norwegian correspondent, about Costa, and he's saying, yeah, he flatters to deceive, doesn't he? I thought he played well first half, but where's the end product? And that's what Juventus need.
Well, they're coming forward here now, crossing over the halfway line with the left back Sandro. He's got a couple of options up with him, and he goes to the left-hand side where Douglas Costa will try and provide a ball in towards the area. Fires it in low, shooting chance, and it's blazed over the top of the crossbar by Dybala, and he'll feel he should have at least hit the target. Well,
ball comes nicely to Dybala, and that ball's only ever going to go one way, Warren, because he's just leaning back on it. You know, body shape is terrible. I know he wants to curl it round the corner, but his body shape can't be like that to hit that ball.
I just think he has to hit it as hard as he can. There's bodies in between him and the keeper. I know I keep saying about potential deflections in and around the area, but it is true. You fire it low in an area like that, full of legs, it could go anywhere. If you lean back, like you say, and try and curl it in, the chances are it's going to go over the bar.
I'll tell you what, if you ever, back in the day, watch Bobby Charlton, concentrate mostly on how he's going to hit the ball through and hit it down and make sure his shot's on target and hard. You know, there he's just thinking, oh, I might dab that one round the corner. With a modern light ball, you've got no chance. As soon as your body shape's wrong, it balloons up in the air. That's you know, an opportunity gone. They were talking about Dybala against Messi. Well, Messi's shown, you know, killer instinct. And it's all about end product, isn't it? You know, he put it through the legs of Benatia in a place, the only place the goal that Buffon just couldn't get it, almost kissed off the post into the back of the net, and he's kept on doing it for, you know, almost a decade now, isn't it? For Dybala, a one-season wonder. That was poor from him, though.
Yeah, and they can't afford to waste opportunities like that now that they are a goal behind. But it is at least an opportunity that's been created as Barca come away down the left-hand side with Suarez. Good defending from Barzagli, who knocks the ball out of harm's way. Throw into Barca, which Suarez takes quickly. Back to Jordi Alba, and now Suarez himself will try and play it back towards halfway, and Umtiti gets it horribly wrong with his left foot and kicks it out of play for a Juve throw-in. Umtiti was applauding him there for the thought of it, but it was a really bad ball back from Suarez.
He's had a rubbish game. The only thing he's done is flick a ball 2 yards, literally.
Yeah, and it's been the lead up to the goal.
Yeah, that's the assist. You know, just brilliant. I mean, we'd all fancied that we could do that back to goal, but generally in open play, he's looked sluggish. He's no great pace about him, no great desire about his play. He's not looking to get on the ball that much, seemingly. No, he's having a poor game.
He is. Well, one thing I will say is he's just come back from injury. I think he played his first game back against Espanyol at the weekend, so maybe that is part for the rustiness that he's showing this evening. Here's Messi, who did brilliantly to get away from two men, keeps possession on halfway, finds Iniesta, who I was told by one of our colleagues at half-time has been linked with a potential move in the summer to Juventus, which... well, I'm sure they'll be delighted to see him playing as he is, if that's true, but not necessarily against the men in black and white this evening, as ball goes back to Umtiti, turns it round the corner and finds Piqué, who strides forward now into the centre circle, switches the play to Jordi Alba on the left-hand side, just inside the Juve half. Piqué has it back, and on it goes now to Rakitic, and then further to this right-hand side, and Dembele now. Can he run at his man maybe and show his electrifying pace? Instead he comes back to Rakitic, and down the right hand side it goes now to Semedo. He's forced backwards. Juve have got plenty of men behind the ball here, and are almost saying to Barcelona, come on then, if you want to add to your lead, you're going to have to try and break us down somehow. Barca won't sit back, they will go looking for more goals, you can guarantee that. Iniesta dummies lovely towards Busquets, and now on from Messi towards Iniesta again. Not half-hearted clearance from Juve, it's going to fall to Messi. Oh, it's in the post, it comes off Buffon, and it ricochets behind for a corner. What a strike from Lionel Messi, who very nearly made it 2-0. I think the Barcelona player following it up might have been offside, and I think the flag has gone up now for the decision against that, but Messi very nearly made it 2-0.
Yeah, it's right. Like London buses, aren't they? Goals against Buffon. You think he's grabbed a second here, and Buffon is beaten. The ball bounced off the post. Buffon just looked, oh, well, I've been beaten. Then the ball springs back off the post, hits him on the shoulder. Should have gone in the back of the net, really, shouldn't it? But he didn't. And so, yeah, they've still got work to do, Barcelona, to put Juve away. I don't think until they've grabbed a third goal will they make this game necessarily safe. Juve got something about them tonight, but Yeah, I mean, Barcelona looked good to get a second, and it was very nearly there. Here they are again, edge of the area, an opportunity.
Yeah, Messi again pulling the strings out to Dembele on the right-hand side, on the edge of the Juve penalty area. Messi tries to go past two players. He's still got the ball. On he goes towards Iniesta. Jordi Alba on the overlap, can't keep it in play. I think he might have been flagged offside anyway, but couldn't get there, and the ball drifts behind for a goal kick. Do you know what? I think they gave an offside here, and he wasn't offside, Jordi Alba, and the ball's gone out of play for a corner. He's tried to hook it back over his shoulder, and it's gone and hit the side netting. So they've either given a offside or a goal kick, and either decision was wrong. It should have been a corner kick.
I'm not sure the ball did go out, though. I think maybe it's more likely that it was that. You know what they're like for the man on the line who does nothing, and reading that kind of play. Man United have grabbed second, by the way, so they've probably more or less sorted themselves out. This game's still in the balance. 1 point is not exactly what you need from this if you're Barcelona. They need to banish the thoughts of what happened to them last season. Probably take 3 points from this and then move, and then they're more or less through the group, aren't they?
They are. It will be a big win for Barca if they can hold on to this. Juve will be thinking, well, if we can take at least a point from this game, it would set us off very nicely indeed. Dybala, did he keep that in play? Didn't look like it to me, but officials allow him to carry on as Sandro plays it back in field. Pjanic brought it down well, but he snaffled off him quickly by Messi, and Pjanic ultimately grabbed Messi round the waist and pulled back the Argentinian. Messi's claiming a yellow card, and the referee is now going to book Lionel Messi for it, I think, John. Yeah, or is he actually going to book Pjanic?
I don't know.
Messi.
Messi for saying the card. Yeah, quite right. Don't you ref him? And the rest of the guys don't touch him. Why needs to be surrounded by four? Suarez, the skipper, he might have a word.
I think the referee's spot on there, and to be honest with you, I think the referee's been pretty good tonight. He's allowed the game to flow as best as possible. Messi's now appealing and saying, come on, what have I done? You shouldn't be going up to a referee in his face and brandishing an invisible card to say that another player should be cautioned. It's down to the referee. You've got your free kick. Get on with it.
Yeah, it's a lack of respect for fellow pros and for the. But then he touches him on the back of the neck.
Yeah.
So it was a combination of things, really.
It was, and the referee decided, probably quite rightly, to caution Lionel Messi. Early stages of the second half, but already the second period is suggesting that we're going to have more entertainment at the Nou Camp. It's still Barcelona 1, Juventus 0. Juve almost pulled a goal back 3 minutes after the half-time break when Douglas Costa got away down the left-hand side, pulled the ball back from the byline, and Dybala really should have done better. Tried to fire a curling shot into the top corner, but he leant back and he fired it over the top of the crossbar when he should have hit the target. 5 minutes later, Lionel Messi came very close indeed to doubling Barcelona's advantage and getting his second goal of the night. A sublime strike from about 22-23 yards out, flew past Buffon, hit the inside of the post, came back and hit the back of the Juventus goalkeeper and bounced away, and Barcelona frustrated that they weren't able to double their advantage. Could still go either way this game, but at the moment it remains Barcelona 1, Juventus 0.
So Barcelona on the ball. Rakitic finds the ball out to Lionel Messi, left-hand side. He looks on his inside, finds Rakitic again, just steps on the ball. Slow play. It's a long ball out to the left-hand side. Wasn't a particularly good one, but Iniesta brings it under his spell immediately. Jordi Alba goes on his bike. Rakitic now flicks it forward. Oh, and then there's a miscue. Real opportunity now. Lionel Messi drives into the box. He's by himself. Little cut back there, waiting for the ball to hit the back of the net. It's driven into the back of the net. It's Rakitic, and it's 2 for Barcelona. Close to having the 3 points secured. A little bit lucky in that, but in the end, good play from Lionel Messi into the box. Ball drifts out. Rakitic then makes sure, left-footed, drives it into the back of the net.
Yeah, and the signs were there in the last 5 minutes or so that Barcelona were getting on top, and it's that man Messi again. Alright, didn't score the goal on this occasion, but he was the creator, and Rakitic has made Juventus pay for not being able to stop Messi. He was away down the right-hand side, played in by Suarez. Just watching the replay again, played a lovely ball across the area towards Suarez. It was cleared away by Barzagli on the stretch, but as it came out to Rakitic, the midfielder has fired it into the empty net. It's Barcelona 2, Juventus 0 at the Nou Camp. It had been threatening in this second half so far. We'd seen Messi just a couple of minutes or so ago smash a shot against the inside of the post, and then it came back off the goalkeeper's back before they were able to clear Juventus. But they couldn't stop Lionel Messi, who's been inspirational for Barca in this game, especially towards the end of the first half and the start of the second half. He was played down the right-hand side by Luis Suarez. He got in towards the area down the right. Trey played the ball across the 6-yard box towards Suarez. On the stretch, it was cleared by Barzagli, but only as far as Rakitic, who running into the area, fired home right-footed into the empty net. Barcelona have doubled their advantage. It's a long way back for Juventus from here. It's Barcelona 2, Juventus 0.
So, yeah, again, out of the blue, really. Yes, they were on top, but, you know, it's the quick nature of the goal. Lionel Messi's ball was terrific there, really. I mean, you think, oh yeah, he's all left foot. I don't know if he didn't stab that ball across with his right. But either which way, what he did was he dragged a lot of players to the near post and just made sure that he forced that ball through. You know, he beat about 3 players before eventually it was clipped away before Suarez was going to tap it in. And then, you know, it's a free-for-all. But there were more Blaugrana shirts there, more Barcelona players there. That far stick, and Rakitic was one of them. And in the end, it was comfortable, really. So 2-0. Juve played well. It sort of rough desserts on them that within an hour of play that they're 2-0 down. But that's just it. Just to confirm, Lionel Messi picked up a yellow card before that. Reffing the game for Demis Scamina. He didn't like it. Ball given away by Barcelona. Here's an opportunity then for Juve. Edge of the area. Shot comes in, but it's blocked at source. And it hasn't been Dybala's night.
No, it hasn't, and it doesn't really look like being his night either, does it? I know it's early to say that with 58.5 minutes on the clock, but he seems to be getting a little bit frustrated out there. And then Matuidi is the latest to barge into a challenge, this time bringing down Rakitic. Referee's happy just to give a free kick on this occasion, and Barca will attempt, I'm sure, to just try and slow things down. Juve might well, if the game went in the same pattern, might well look back at this, John, and think, how have we lost 2-0? But if you don't take your opportunities at the Nou Camp, then you're going to be made to pay for it.
No, I agree with that. I thought that when they were doing well first half, you know what, that's all well and good, but you're going to get beaten and say you played well. You need to strike while they are in salt. While Barcelona were messing about at the back, before you know it, you 1, 2, 3 goals down, that kind of thing. You know, that's happened all too many times. As well, Dembele runs over the top. He feels he was brought down there, but they come forward again. The ball out to Luis Suarez. Not good enough this time by Lionel Messi, and then perhaps there was a foul as Suarez was trying to get the ball back. He's effing and jeffing at our referee, which he doesn't really need. I don't think there was anything but a foul there, no. As Benati had played the ball out from the back. And just looking at the block off Dybala's shot before that, yeah, it wasn't great from him, but here is Messi trying to roll it forward to find Dembele. Not a good ball necessarily from Messi again, but was there a challenge and a foul at the edge of the area? Well, I think Barzagli, adjudged to have brought his man down, gets a yellow card. He can't believe it. I'm a little bit suspicious of that. Yeah, but it is a free kick.
I wonder whether the referee just thinks he just wants to quieten down the Barcelona players for a moment, who are in his ear all the time about decisions not going their way. I sometimes feel this with Barca. Looking at it again, I think he had his arms around the waist of Dembele as he tried to get away. I'm not sure he was going to get on the ball anyway, but the referee saw that. I have to say, sometimes that Barca just seem to wind themselves up when they've no reason to. They're 2-0 up, you know, cruising. Stick with your football, play your football and get on with it, and they'll end up winning this game. If they start to get frustrated, they may well allow Juventus to get back into it.
That's right, but they've got a free kick. This could well end up in the back of the net. I think that there was a little foul on the Dembele in the last passage of play before that. I thought that was typical Italian defending from Barzagli. Anyway, Messi stood over the ball, but well, and he hits it as well. And in the end, it's got to be saved by Buffon, who pushed it out for a corner kick. I thought he looked vaguely comfortable coming across the keeper. He just he didn't take a risk, that's all.
Yeah, no, looking at it again, he took one step to the right. I think he knew where it was going, to be honest with you, and he was able to get across there pretty comfortably and palm it away. But he's on his game now, Messi, isn't he? He's got his tail up, and you fear for Juventus here if Barcelona really stick at it. A third goal, as you mentioned earlier on, John, would definitely kill it off.
Sometimes I think they wind themselves up because they need to draw the game out of the ordinary. Here, ball comes in, but it evades PK and it won't get on the end of that. You know, every time they go out, more or less they beat whoever's in front of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard, even when it's a Juventus or whoever else, sometimes to drag yourself out of that rivet that you've got into, that rut, if you like, even if it's a winning one. What could be different in this game? How can they wind themselves up to produce more? You know.
But as I say, I sometimes just think it might cost them a player or two a yellow card, or even worse than that, get frustrated and get a red card. By the way, elsewhere it's Benfica 1, CSKA Moscow 1 now. Benfica had taken the lead, but the visitors have equalised. Celtic 0, Paris Saint-Germain 3, still the latest score. We mentioned Man United leading 2-0 against Basel, and Chelsea 3-0 up now against Karabakh. Sporting Lisbon 3-0 up at Olympiacos. The only goal with no games in it, the only game with no goals in it is Roma Atletico Madrid, which isn't a massive surprise. As Juve make a change here, Bentancur comes off and Bernardeschi comes on to replace him.
He's going to be a good player, Bentancur, but that game came too soon for him. What, 20 years of age? Bernardeschi's got a bit more experience. Bentancur didn't really play any part in the game, particularly second half. He's hardly had a kick. Had that one shot in the first half. Anyway, I guess that'd be good news for Juve. The ball goes out left-hand side again, Douglas Costa.
Yeah, Costa on the left-hand side, faced up by two Barca players, tries to go and take on his man. Good defending by Semedo, though, who got the final touch and has knocked it behind for a corner. 63 minutes on the clock. You're listening to Off-Tube Studio commentary. Barcelona 2, Juventus 0 in this Champions League group game. And it looks like being the perfect start to their Champions League campaign for Barca, unless Juve can get a goal back, you feel, in the next 10 or 15 minutes and put the cat amongst the pigeons. Dybala's corner from the near side, left-footed, is an outswinger. It's a poor one, not dealt with very well though by Jordi Alba, and Juve have it back. Left-footed shot comes in by the new man, I think, Bernardeschi, but he couldn't keep it down and it fizzes over the angle of post and bar. Yeah,
it's a shame, really. Well, he sliced that shot, didn't he? And again, he just couldn't wrap his boot round it. Sort of welcome to the game, and he opened up. You know, you think, it was probably right for him to have a goal, but he just sliced it at the vital moment. His body shape, he's falling away from that. As again, ter Stegen plays out from the back, makes a mess of things. He puts himself under pressure, and even then the outball's not great. But Barcelona have got good players, and again, Jordi Alba, over the halfway line. Here come Barcelona looking for a third.
And it is Suarez down the left-hand side. Poor ball, though, again, who's let him down his passing this evening, and then eventually Dybala's fouled by not one but two Barcelona players, pulled back in the centre circle. It'll be a free kick to Juve. Not sure whether he's going to dish out a yellow card here or not.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's the second cynical challenge from Rakitic. It just holds somebody back who beats him, and it's been Dybala twice who just ran away from him, holding back. How is that not a yellow card? He's done it twice.
You'd have thought he'd have had one by now, as Dembele back inside his own half mops up for Barca, plays it into Busquets, who then plays it further left, and Jordi Alba. Iniesta now, who's been a bit quieter in the second half than he was in the first, but he's still looking to try and pull the strings. And then his little ball into Messi, sees Messi fouled. Messi just raises his eyebrows towards the referee and says, I won't say anything this time, bear in mind you've already booked me. Matuidi was the guilty party. Iniesta out to the left now, and Jordi Alba into feet and Messi, and then back to Iniesta again. Just to remind you that Messi scored the first in stoppage time at the end of the first half, and Rakitic on 56 minutes, doubling Barca's advantage. In a group where you'd expect these two really to go through. Layoff from Dembele is a poor one this time. Ball forward though from Pjanic was smashed into the midriff of Rakitic and fell to a Barca teammate. And now out to the left-hand side, and Jordi Alba. Messi forward towards Suarez. Now Alba on the overlap. Alba's ball in towards Suarez on the near post, and he flicks it over the angle of post and bar. Did well to get there ahead of his two markers, but he was going to always struggle to score from that angle.
He was, but he got a really good slice on that ball. Sometimes their slice is your friend, just trying to guide it, isn't he, at the near post, and he's ever so close to doing that. It's like a fade, isn't it, something the way he hits that, and just such clever play from him. But he's had an awful night. I mean, his passing has been terrible by and large, but very rusty. But you probably still want him in your team.
Yeah, you would do. He still can just pop up with a bit of inspiration at any time. At the moment, he had the hand in the first goal. Not done a great deal else other than that. As here come Barca again down the left-hand side with Jordi Alba into Iniesta. Just kept that in play, Jordi Alba on the stretch. And Titi now forced back by goalkeeper. Juve and Higuain in particular trying to push it there midfield on to try and close Barcelona down. It's a thankless task though at the moment, and Barca almost running rings around the middle of the park there, spread it out to this right hand side. And Semedo 2-0 down the Nou Camp, trying to chase Barcelona when they're passing the ball as they are. As I say, it is a thankless task really.
It is, but you've got to keep on going with it because they've made so many mistakes tonight. I mean, you know, courage of your convictions. A team with a bit more about them could have profited and at least grabbed one goal. I felt that a lot of the shots have come from range. They may feel that, you know, at the end of the half when they were pressing and looking good, Juventus, that's when they got caught. So it's like a slap in the face for, you know, the system holding a shape and doing all those things that they did well. That was getting them involved in the game seemed to have cost them a goal before the half. So it's almost like you daren't go forward then, and it makes life difficult for you. You're sort of caught in two minds.
They were well in the game at 0-0, but now they look like they might lose by more as Messi plays it out to Dembele down the right-hand side. He's running at his man Benatia, plays it in field. Well read though by Matuidi, who got back to deny Messi. And Juve will look to try and hit on the break. Look how deep Higuain is picking the ball up here though, inside his own half. He's done well to get away from Busquets. He's looking for some help down the right and the left. In fact, he goes through the middle to Dybala. He passes it back towards Pjanic. Impetus has been lost a little bit, and trying to play balls 2 or 3 yard passes. I don't actually think that ball was meant there to go towards Bernardeschi, and now here come Barcelona on the edge of the area. Messi still going. Messi, it's 3-0. Unerring finish again from the little Argentinian, and if you don't make the most of your opportunity at the other end, we've said all night they will punish you.
You know, Juve offered a few bodies forward. Oh dear, that was a big mistake, wasn't it? And then when Barcelona picked up the ball, Iniesta picked it up, and I'm thinking, right, okay, yeah, you've got bodies forward, but this needs to be good. And he absolutely puts it on a plate. He puts it where Messi wants it. Messi then can go on the outside of his man. He's more likely to drag it on the inside, as we know. But the ball to him just allows him to do that. And as soon as he's onto his left foot and he's cutting, then you've got no chance. He's got a great position. He just drills it in past Buffon. So here we go. Juve played well, but it's 3-0, and well, Lionel Messi scored 2, created 1.
Depends what Barcelona want to do now, but this could become embarrassing for Juve because the home side have got their tails up. It's clearly game over now at the Nou Camp. Barcelona 3, Juventus 0, and the third goal came about after Juve pushed a number of bodies forward in a quick break which involved Higuain and Dybala, but they lost the ball on the edge of the Barcelona penalty area and the home side took full advantage. Iniesta played a lovely pass on towards Lionel Messi on the edge of the penalty area. He cut on his favoured left foot, drifted past 2 defenders before firing low into the bottom corner. Buffon with absolutely no chance, and Juventus now with no chance of getting anything from this game. With just over 20 minutes left to go, it's Barcelona 3, Juventus 0.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of inevitability about it sometimes, and it actually doesn't matter who they play against. And in fact, the better teams will, you know, find out that the game goes to them just the same as the tiddlers. You know, you park your bus, they're going to beat you. You hold the shape, they're going to beat you. Dembele comes off, Sergio Roberto comes on, and that's it's a bit like saying, you know, the job is done. But anyway, you know, for Juve, there are many ways to lose at the Nou Camp, and I think, you know, they're doing a pretty good job. But you know, what do you do?
It's hard, isn't it? I think the killer goal clearly was the one before half-time, because Juve, as I say, were well and truly in that game at 0-0. But to concede, having probably created the better chances in that first half, Juventus, it clearly was a kick in the teeth, and Barca have made them pay in the second half. Bayern Munich, by the way, have doubled their advantage at home to Anderlecht, who are down to 10 men in that game. But in our featured game here in this off-tube studio commentary, Barca lead Juventus by 3-0 as Dybala tries to break away, but again Juve are there in, Barca are there in numbers to dispossess him, although he was fouled in the build-up, and we're just under 20 minutes left to go. I'll hand you over to John, who can take you through to full-time.
So, yeah, no look for Dybala tonight, but he kept on going there, was upended. My idea of the scoreline tonight, if you've been listening, you heard me say 3-1, 3-2. Maybe now that the game's seemingly won for Barca, all they will want to do is defend, but can Juve grab a goal? I'm not even sure now. They played quite well though. The ball back with Dybala, takes it quickly, goes back to Sandro, and they've got to build again with Costa. Been quiet second half when he had a good game first half. They need to find a little bit of something, get a little bit out of the game for themselves by going on and nicking a goal. Barcelona will feel that job done. They want to go home right now, I'm sure. Feel the job is done. Maybe for the likes of Suarez and Messi, it's just right, okay, we've opened them up, and we know when we do that there's hat-tricks to be had, there's big wins to secure, and also there's that little bit of vengeance. Juve cost Barcelona dear last season, at a time when it looked like Barcelona had the momentum to go on and win the Champions League. Anyway, here come Juve rolling along, challenged in the middle of the park by Busquets, who's done pretty well, and all of a sudden there's no real impetus to the game. Juve, you feel now, are going to see the lion's share of possession and see what they can do with it.
Yeah, they will, and already probably partly thinking Max Allegri about Game 2 in Group D, which will be at home to Olympiacos, a game which they'd expect to win. Olympiacos losing 3-0 at home this evening against Sporting Lisbon. Sporting entertain Barcelona in Portugal next time out. Those games are on Wednesday, September the 27th, so a couple of weeks and a day away yet. As I said earlier on, you'd expect Juve and Barcelona to progress. Interesting to see how Sporting Lisbon do. They're normally very useful at home against Barcelona. Whether they can take anything from that game.
Yeah, I mean, they would be hoping that these two could draw, those things, and that neither team gets the win and moves away. It makes life more difficult for them. 1-1 would have suited them down to the ground tonight. Anyway, Chelsea 4 now, Karabag 0. As Jordi Alba takes the throw, he's deep in his own half, but and he can't find a colleague with the throw out. But the ball might just break kindly for Barcelona. It doesn't, and the ball won back by Juve. Bernardeschi trying to make ground down the right hand side. He can't. Ball is laid back, and eventually will be cleared away. Sturaro, and he sends Barzagli running. In fact, it's Mehdi Benetti, left hand side, who finds Alexandro just over the halfway line, held up by Rakitic. Wants to go back on his inside. Ooh, and then there's a terrible challenge. They've made a mess of things. Pjanic surely getting a yellow card there. Got caught in possession, then he just had to haul his man down. They're trying to go forward, but they're leaving the cupboard bare, aren't they, when they do?
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Pjanic. He was left with no other alternative but to take down Sergio Roberto on halfway, because he was breaking clear, and I think it was a 3-on-3 attack there for Barcelona. So the yellow card ultimately for the Juventus midfielder, and Juve stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment, knowing what to do here. Do they go for a goal and try and improve goal difference, or do they just try and stem the tide a little bit? And they're doing really neither of that at the moment. Yeah,
they don't quite know. Like we said, they got a real slap in the chops the first half. They looked like they were doing well, holding a shape, and I said that was one of their virtues, and then by doing that they conceded a goal on the break. But anyway, here they come forward, the ball faced forward, but it won't reach the intended target then from Matuidi. I've seen him play better than this. Ball forward now, and he's at a chase for Higuain. A bit long in the tooth for me, Gonzalo Higuain. I've seen him play better than this, and he's lacking that spark. I know he's a different player than he's not a hare. He's not going to chase after everything, but it just
he's been very deep tonight. He's been trying to get involved in the game a bit more, where I'd be tempted if I was Allegri to say, look, just stay up top, because there's other people who can do the chasing for you. I wonder how much they've missed Mandzukic tonight as well, to be fair. He's out injured at the moment. He may have made a difference, so it could be a different Juventus team when the two sides meet in Turin in the return match.
Good work by Costa. He gets the ball out to Matuidi. Ball goes left to right. Barzagli gets the ball back, and they're all waiting now. They've got there was a ball that was on, but then a weak shot comes in, left-footed from Bernardeschi at the edge of the area. A couple of shots from him have lacked a little bit of spark. Saw Paulinho about to come on, it looked like. Again, if they took a Suarez off for Paulinho, I wouldn't be too surprised, because as we said, Suarez has looked just a little bit rusty. As Iniesta, in fact Rakitic is brought down in the middle of the park by Sturaro, and that will be a free kick. And they're about to make that change. There's Paulinho, I think it is, about to come on, and it's Rakitic who's gone off. Scorer of one of the 3 goals tonight.
What do you make of Paulinho as a signing? A surprise for me that it was suggested they were after Paulinho in the first place as a bit of a Brazilian compatriot for Neymar, and of course then he moves on.
Well, yeah, that's like taking a sheep with a racehorse just to be friends, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just going, of what we saw of him at Tottenham, he didn't look like the type of player that you would think is a Barcelona style player, or have they not got better options? But they've been chasing him for a while.
I don't know about Paulinho, because I'm not sure they played him in his right position. I just think he wanted to play. I think he's pretty much box to box, isn't he? Really, I don't think he's much of a goal scorer, although he's a footballer and he gets the odd one. He's neither batting the ball, but he's decent, isn't he? He's one of those. If you say to somebody, look, you're not going to get in the first team, but we want you as an understudy just in case, do you mind sitting on the bench and taking a load of money? It's all right then,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd be the perfect signing.
You'd never turn down Barcelona, would you? I mean, he was playing in China, probably was thinking, I've been here for a little bit of time now, and obviously the chance of a move to the new camp, you'd jump at it. I just thought it was a strange signing from a Barcelona perspective. I mean, Arda Turan can't get a look in at the moment, can he? Here come Barca again.
Yeah, around the back, an opportunity. Oh, big mess by Buffon. The ball's going to end up at the back of the net. It is 4-0. Oh, dearie me. Well, we were talking about Buffon being impenetrable and brilliant, but there he fumbled, and that allowed a tap in. Although, well, what's the referee saying? What's he pointing to? Offside, is he saying? Ooh, I don't know about that. So that one
went up.
Appears to have been chopped. Well, that saved the blushes of Buffon, who makes a right mess of his clearance. Then very nearly robbed inside his own box. What are they doing? They're just being given one reprieve, and then almost immediately they need another one. Well, wow. If the assistant referee didn't have his flag up, I think that's tight. Well, I think that's a wrong call. Flag did go up, but I thought he was at the very least levels. Anyway, it's 3 rather than 4, and well, my belt just about alive by the skin of its teeth.
Well, I think Buffon can thank the referee, because he's got him out of a hole there, to be honest with you. It was a really uncharacteristic mistake from the veteran keeper. Here come Juve on the break.
They do, and Dybala's got lots of time. He's got an overlap. Oh, and he goes the wrong way. The clearance is pretty poor from Umtiti as well, though, but in the middle of the park now. Maybe another chance for Juve. And Higuain, it's a terrible ball, but he's bailed out in the middle of the park, this time by Sturaro, I think. Bernardeschi on the ball now. The Juve try and come forward. It's like Keystone Cops out there now. Don't know what's happening with this game, as Sandro now, a semblance of quality, as he drifts inside Sergio Roberto. The ball just flicked away from Pjanic on the card, the Bosnian now. Sturaro hasn't got that much skill to take round his man as the ball breaks the edge of the area. Pjanic again, an easy out ball, can get the cross in here. Sturaro's ball is blocked away by Iniesta, breaks back inside, and well, some strong challenges there, but the referee gives nothing as Juve maybe an opportunity. Shot comes in, and it's a save by Ter Stegen, diving to his left hand side, and it will be a corner.
Yeah, it was Dybala, I think, in the end, who hit it left footed. He hit it well as well, and bounced just awkwardly in front of the goalkeeper. Just watching the replay again, just in front of him. He did well there, Ter Stegen. It's a difficult save to make, diving to his left, and he tipped it around the post. Yeah,
first bit of real quality we've seen from Dybala, out of nothing. Short backlift and pumped that left foot drive away. As the cross comes in, it's a header. Oh, off the line by Piqué. Wow, and well, what's being given there?
Here.
Well, I thought it was just a good block by Piqué off the line. They were claiming a handball, perhaps, but not given. Keeper Ter Stegen came, got nowhere near it, and it was a free header from Benetti, I think, into the back of the net. But Piqué stopped it on the line.
He did, and Juve appealing for everything at the moment, wanting a goal, and they wanted a handball and a penalty. Nothing doing, says the referee, but Juve got the tails up at the moment.
Costa, a great drive forward, ball flicked. Here's an opportunity, shot comes in straight into Ter Stegen's hands. Is that Bernardeschi again? Well, he 3 chances with his left foot, and they've been all stinkers, really, all differently bad in their own way. But what an opportunity that was.
It was, and Juve have had 2 or 3 great opportunities in the last 5 minutes or so to at least register a goal this evening. Not sure Karabag will be registering a goal at Stamford Bridge. They're 6-0 down now against Chelsea. Pedro, Zappacosta, Azpilicueta, Bakayoko and 2 for Michy Batshuayi. Chelsea in complete control.
Well, Juve have had 13 attempts, 6 on target tonight. Should have scored a goal tonight. And well, Barca 9 attempts, 5 on target, but we all know their attempts are a little bit different. They have the ability to get round the back, don't they? Ter Stegen this time right-footed, clears his lines, all headed the back where it came. Flag has gone up though. A little shove there, wasn't it, by Suarez, or was he offside initially? Either which way, Juve have the ball. And again, well, we look at Piqué. Did he handle on the line?
It looked like he was about to handle it, then he kind of moved his arm because it was coming into. It ultimately, I think, hit him around the armpit between chest and arm. So I can understand why the referee didn't give it in the end. But on first glimpse, it looked like he was going to handle it. As Iniesta is going to make way now, and his hands the captain's armband to Lionel Messi. It's been another inspired performance from the Barcelona skipper. He gets a well-deserved rest for the last 7.5 minutes. Yeah,
Andre Gomez, not a bad sub to bring on. No Iniesta though. He'd shown some magic tonight. Andres Iniesta, typical of him. The Gomez comes on, and so by the way, Juve's new badge leaves me cold.
Yeah, I know. Somebody in the PR department went, "Oh, I bet it would look really good. They need a new badge. We'll just put like a weird-looking J on there in black and white. It'll look great."
V-Poor. I don't know what they had before, but they've traded down, haven't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, here come Juventus now. And the Zebretti, I think they call them as well. Zebra. They've got a zebra mascot. That's a bit lame as well, if you've seen that. Cartoon zebra. But anyway, hasn't been their night tonight. The men in black and white, the Bianconeri. They've got a million different nicknames, haven't they? The Blaugrana, the team, are ahead though. 3-0 Barcelona, and here they come again. They're looking pretty comfortable on the ball. They almost ought to blow the whistle now, Warren.
Yeah, it could do. It would put Juventus out of their misery. It's still Barcelona 3, Juventus 0 as we move into the closing stages at the new camp, and Barca in control. Although Juve have had a couple of chances to narrow the gap in this game. Dybala saw a strike, well saved, diving to his left down low by Ter Stegen on 81 minutes, and from the resulting corner, Benatia's header was goal bound but was cleared off the line by Gerard Piqué. Just a couple of minutes before that though, Barca thought they'd gone 4-0 up as Alba got away down left, fired a ball in towards the area, and Buffon uncharacteristically dropped it inside of his 6-yard box on the stretch, and it was poked home by Luis Suarez, but the official on the near side had put his flag up for offside. A very, very tight call indeed. If anything, we thought he was onside looking at replays, but Barca still comfortable. They lead by 3-0.
Yeah, they've got a corner kick now. Another opportunity. I don't think they'd throw too many bodies forward at this. Messi's going to take his own sweet time. And just about his first missed control there. He's picking up the ball. Man United 3, Basel 0 now. Yeah, I think it's been far from perfect from Barca tonight. But it's been good enough, hasn't it? And Messi is still just absolutely magic.
Yeah.
To be so good is one thing, but to be so consistently good beggars belief, really.
And it's the way he does it in big games as well. You know, just when they need him to step up to the plate. As I say, there was times in that first half where they arguably were second best to Juventus, certainly on chances created anyway. But he just, you know, how many players would pick it up midway inside the opposition half in stoppage time and just knock a ball sideways? Instead, he goes, no, I'm going to run at the heart of the defence. Creates a little bit of magic, obviously with the help of Suarez, but you know, he is the difference between Barcelona and other teams on so many occasions, and he has been again tonight.
Yeah, I've seen better Barcelona teams, certainly when Xavi was playing, and you know, I think that Luis Suarez has not been great tonight. Paris Saint-Germain has scored again. It looks like they've all had a goal tonight, doesn't it? Neymar and Cavani and all those guys. But yeah, I've seen better Barca teams, but they've still got Lionel Messi, and you know, and if you have, then you've got a great chance. Another change made. Gonzalo Gerardo Higuain goes off, having not played well, and maybe he's one who's had that many bad experiences against Barca. He didn't really believe it. I can't I can't remember seeing him play well against Barcelona. He must have done it some time or another. He's played often enough.
I think he's probably on the losing side for Real a few times.
He was back when he was there. Barca certainly had the edge. Ball breaks out to the right hand side, and Umtiti then is beaten there. Well, did he bring down Bernardeschi? I thought he fouled him there, but the referee didn't. I'm not sure that the referee was up with the play. Demir scumming it, but anyway, he lets that one go. And oh dearie me, Michael Lustig, an own goal. You don't really need that, do you, when you're playing against the team who are beating you 3-0?
Well, you look at the other scorers, Neymar, Mbappe and Cavani, all the ones that you'd expect to be on the score sheet this evening have been, and Celtic shooting themselves in the foot with an own goal as well. Plenty of heavy victories for sides tonight. Chelsea 6-0 up, Paris Saint-Germain 4-0, Man United 3-0, Barca 3-0 in our game, and Sporting Lisbon 3-0 up as well. Probably the surprise of the evening, Benfica 1, CSKA Moscow 2 is the latest score there.
Yeah, it's a great result for CSKA, isn't it? Who you wouldn't necessarily regard as brilliant travellers. I think when the Portuguese teams, I'm not saying that they're easy to beat, but they're the teams that you'd probably pick off, if anything. Maybe I'm doing them an injustice there. But anyway, obviously the teams who qualified, the likes of Celtic, I mean that was an adventure in itself. You don't necessarily expect that they would have done anything against PSG. No Henrik Larsson for them anymore, I believe. Anyway, here come Barcelona down the right hand side, but there's a foul in the middle of the park, and if that's Matuidi, then that may be his umpteenth. The card comes out, and
Caligara, I think the substitute, was only just come on.
Yeah, I thought he maybe nicked the ball away.
He did,
there.
but any tackle from behind these days, isn't it? And I think he kind of caught the ball and, in the same process, caught Busquets from behind, and referee was on the spot.
But if you had a chance to kick Busquets, I mean, you would. Anyway, the ball breaks now for Barcelona. Umtiti on it now. He opts for a good long ball, chipped over the top. Jordi Alba caught in two minds. Should he let it bounce? Should he bring it down? He dabbed out a leg and toe poked it out of play. Ball with Buffon, and that was very unlike Italian players on the beach. You see better control than that. Buffon's had a weird sort of deadly average game where he's made a couple of mistakes, really.
He has, yeah. I mean, you couldn't blame him for any of the goals, in all honesty, but he's not been his usual sure self at the back. And to be fair, Juventus as a rule, normally defensively very strong, haven't looked as solid as they always have done either. Celtic 0, Paris Saint-Germain 5 now at Celtic Park.
Yeah, I mean, Chiellini is such a big miss. You need those old heads. You know, they let their centre-backs play till about 40 years of age, don't they? Used to do it at Milan with Costa Curta and all that, Maldini. You know, they know what they're doing, those guys. And like we said, back four as well, you know, off times they'd been three, hadn't they? Anyway, coming forward again, down the right-hand side, a chance for Bernardeschi to deliver a ball in if he can. One last throw of the dice, perhaps, before regulation play is over, when we hit added time. Cross comes in. There's a deflection. It comes off the chest of Dybala. Couldn't do anything with that. Ball breaks the edge of the area. It's picked up by Alexandro. And they're now into only 2 minutes of added time. There haven't really been many stoppages. There've been a few cards, but actually there haven't been too many rash challenges. I think the two sets of players do seem to have respect for each other and are played in the right spirit and all that kind of stuff. You know, maybe that's half of Juve's problem. They haven't really got stuck in.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that, you know, the way that they frustrated Barca in the quarter-final last year has not been that same sort of style about Juventus tonight, and they'll have to go back to the drawing board and think how they reach that next level of Europe again. I mean, it's always difficult though, isn't it, when you've been beaten in a final the previous season, to come back and go again. And alright, they've changed a few faces, and it's probably for Juventus over the last 10 years they've dramatically changed it this summer. Flag
goes up, Lionel Messi offside by a million miles. I was thinking about that, and I think I look at Atletico and what they do season in, season out, unlimited resource, and you feel after he'd won La Liga that maybe he might just have left and said that's as well as I can do.
Yeah.
You know, in the season where they got Champions League final. But he keeps rolling them out, and they keep doing well, don't they? And he somehow keeps that ball rolling. Anyway, the ball rolling now for Juventus, but still in their own half. Bernardeschi chips it forward. Maybe the little flick there, but in the end, there was just a foul. And so, there's about 20 seconds left. I think my bet's dead in the water now, unless Juve can do something pretty weird and put Ter Stegen under pressure. There have been a couple of opportunities for them, which they haven't taken. And maybe they deserve something out of the night, but they're unlikely to get it this late stage. So 2 minutes is on the clock now as the ball is laid back to Piqué. Referee decides that's enough, and he blows his whistle. In the end, it was an easy evening for Barcelona. Barcelona 3, Juventus 0.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play